Welcome back, everybody, to session 3 of A Lingering Sickness. Last we met with our mixed cultural group of uh, adventurers here. We were assigned to look into a disturbance in a swamp near to the river basin of the Tarandine. Ilmatar, our priest of the Silent Monolith, as well as a warden of a winter coven, um, was requested by one of his superiors to look into this with his companions. And in the process of coming to this swampland, this wet coastal forest, you've come face to face with a Leshen and with its brood. Here, let me get that picture up for you. Oh shit, Rafe, get the fuck out of the way, you monster! Come on now. All right, we'll count about 9 Leshen children there, but no, we've only seen, I believe I said 5 last time, and this Leshen standing over its brood is giving you 3 the awful skeletal stink eye, if you will. And Ilmatar had taken a few moments to call upon his deity, the Silent Monolith, in hopes to either gain advice and guidance from that higher power regarding this situation here. And I will take it away I'll give it away to Ilmatar. Describe your character and describe this ritual. Once we do that, we'll go through the other characters. You may describe your characters however you wish. Take it away, my man.
All right. Ilmatar is a Dawn Fairfolk, quite stereotypical in looks this time around. His hair is not dyed. His hair is actually reasonable length this time around. He is pretty decked out armament-wise. Everything is made of fey iron. He definitely looks like a man of station, befitting both the priesthood and the way of the mystic that he is. His hair is very light. His skin has that almost, sun touch look to it type of ideal. The ritual he was doing when we left off last time is he had stepped back far enough from the sense of corruption to pick up some pure soil in his hands. And when he did that, he actually placed a sapling in the ground where he dug the soil up, put a little bit of water over it. He then walked to the edge of the swamp inside the corruption, inside this dread feeling, as it were, actually dug out a divot, put the pure soil in there with another sapling, watered that one. And he was doing this as he was walking. He was staring at the Leshen, calling on the silent monolith to aid him in how to aid this creature, because he wasn't looking to kill this thing. He wasn't looking to, not even really relocate it if need be, since Leshens were spirits of nature themselves, but he had to figure out why it was acting the way it was. And I believe we had left Ilmatar, I believe he was kneeling in front of that second sapling right on the edge when we had stopped.
Excellent. Iosha, would you describe your character for us? Oh, you're muted.
Iosha is a Trow, as they are currently known. And when we had left off, she had just lost her best friend, not for eating, who had taken off terrified into the woods. who is unfortunately now 4-eating. She was holding onto her spear, unsure of whether she should stab it or move away from what is essentially a deity personified in her mind. At this point, she is sure that the story she had been told of the great horned deity of the fall is true, but should she go after this thing? Should she not? And she's waiting on her companions to move, to make some sort of gesture at the beast so she could do what her training shows and run forward. But until then, she's just fighting her fear to not drop that weapon and run away.
Beautiful. Rilan Till, would you describe your character for us, please?
So Rilan is he's a fairly average height Umbread that has that, well, it's hard to tell because this is the middle of daytime, but he has that fair skin of all of his kind and the dark hair. Currently, he is swathed in a cloak, a very thick black cloak that blocks most of the light, and his face is currently in shadow. The cloak itself is actually draped around him. Underneath that, you can occasionally catch the flash of light off of the dark metal of an ebon cove plate, and hanging about his neck is a silver coin. This silver coin is put through has a thong through it, and upon it is the let me see, where are you at again? Come on, where are you at? It is the visage, as they call it. Basically, it's a Melfay's face that is through some process darkened. As he watches Ilmatar do or begin his ritual, he moves back from the corrupted area and finds a tree where he can sit down at the base of the tree, revealing his tall black leather boots. Wraps the cloak further around him and makes sure his face is hidden, and make sure that he is in shade. And he'll just sort of contemplate this lesson, and he'll let his eyes roam about the area beyond that is showing the corruption, and just see if he can see anything that just basically takes his attention. I guess this would be basically he's attempting to use his premonition to see if there's anything that catches his eye.
Okay. You're gazing off into the swampland here, and well, you know, your eyes keep coming back to this lesson. God, it's quite literally giving you the stare down, almost with body language, as they speak a language that we could not know, and saying how daring you to come into its domain. You guys are safe where you're at, but you come in here, and one of the Leshen children reaches up, kind of a clawed hand that looks more like a mass of twigs, and it forms like a 3 or 4 or 5 fingered palm, and it like puts a clawed hand on the adult's like leg, and it like murmurs something on the wind, again, alien primordial forest spirit language, and the adult looks down and murmurs something, and the children just kind of like melt before your eyes into like the muck and the moss, and they just disappear in very unsettling fashion, just as apparitions and shadows, just pushed back by light, just gone. Now, Ilmatar, you've called upon your god, and in a similar, it was a primordial earth like language. Clearly it is a language that you could not know with a mortal mind, Fey or otherwise, as you are closer to the wilderness. Then possibly humans are, but you are able to empathize with but relying on your wildness and your feralness as a fair folk. And these keywords come to you. These words of caution and pain and fear and a dread of the end. And imagine these words being spoken to you that sound like wind passing through rocky crags. And you're able to decipher these tones and these sounds into words that your mortal mind could understand. And they come to you in the same way that a little girl screaming in fear for her papa would. That is what you feel when you feel you assume you would like to assume that the silent monolith replied to you. That is the feeling that washes over you.
Do I get any sense of like even direction?
Oh, it's coming from within, clearly from
Oh,
within.
okay. Okay.
Somewhere in that woodland.
Caution and pain, but as if a little girl was screaming for her father.
Yep.
Because that's not terrifying to hear inside your head.
But a rock said it.
Yeah.
Something
makes it any
equally
less
unknowable.
Right. Has the lesson moved? I know the baby's melted away, but has the lesson moved? Or is its body language like pointing toward or away from something?
The lesson, after this feeling washes over you, and the young have dismissed themselves per se, the lesson seems to be disinterested in the three of you and move on. Walks off into the swamp, or this mangrove, and you kind of hear its splashing as it moves through the hip high water, which it's about maybe 8.5 feet tall, I'm assuming. It's much taller than all of you, but it moves away and you do not see anymore. And that the corruption that it gives off dissipates, and you sense its influence less and less.
Ilmatar's, like, for a moment, he's literally just going to watch this thing walk away. Because also at first he thought the corruption was kind of static.
Mm-hmm.
So him feeling the corruption leave is like, oh, well, that's an interesting development.
Whatever horror that you were warned of, however, is still with him. The only difference in the situation is the lesson is probably not what you're sent after.
Right.
You get that feeling.
So yeah, he's part of him's like trying to piece it together, like, all right, kids, corruption aura, as he's doing this, he's going to try to he's going to give glances at his two companions. One, because he knows Iosa was kind of like on that pins and needles type of mindset, and he assumes Roland went off somewhere in the shadows because it was too bright out for him right now. So
Yeah. Yeah,
He is
being
going to
nearby a
search.
tree.
Yeah. So he is going to search out his companions for a moment.
Right. So when this thing moved away, well, one of the things that Roland's going to be looking for is, are there any obvious like border markers, like totems or things that might be set around the perimeter of something, like as if maybe this might have been done intentionally?
Well, how do you mean by border markers, so to speak?
Basically, the idea is if there was a very, he's thinking in his mind, this may or may not be possible. But if someone were wanting to corrupt a large area, they might mark out the area they wanted to corrupt by something. Similar to like a circle, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
But they would, of course, you couldn't do an entire circle around a swamp or an area, but you might be able to place sort of like totem markers or things that are tied to your ritual on the
Oh,
edge.
I see.
So he's sort of looking for anything like that you can see. Anything that sort of stands out.
I see. Nothing in your area like that is here. See, it seems very much an untouched portion of land here.
Okay.
That's actually a really good question. I wanted to clarify what exactly you're referring to.
So yeah, so as he sees Ilmatar start coming his way, he'll of course he's literally lounging against this tree almost like he's dozing. And he says, any luck?
Ilmatar, he has that look of just him trying to piece it together. I don't really want to quite say pensiveness, but that's probably about the closest we're going to get. And he'll look at Roland and, ever had a kid screaming for a parent?
I've heard that before, yes. All kinds of things happen at night.
Caution and pain in that voice.
Caution and pain in the voice of a small child, as if they're calling out for their parent. Do you think they may be thinking of you as the parent?
I don't know.
Being a priest, I mean, I'm assuming this came during your ritual, right?
Sorry, what was that? It broke out there.
So I'm sure this vision, if you will, although it is not your eyes but your ears that perceived it, came during your ritual, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it is some spirit connected to your God that's calling out, or seeing you as a priest, as a father figure, if you will, reaching out to you, telling you that it's in pain and to be cautious. At least that's what I would think.
So, what do you think we should do next then?
Well, I was just sitting here looking and seeing if there was any kind of ritual markers or totems or anything like that around the edge of this thing to see if someone had done this intentionally. I wouldn't mind progressing along the edge of it and see how far it extends. At least till nightfall.
Iosa, what say you?
I say one of us steps in to see what is in there and if the Lushan is truly gone.
You volunteering?
If that is your request.
I really don't want you broken yet.
I won't be. You see my spear?
I see your spear, yes.
I can handle whatever it is.
Then he raises his hand and sort of languidly goes, go ahead then.
In an attempt to back up her bravado, she's gonna turn and stare at the trees very nervously and take a few steps in to see if that Lushan had truly moved on.
Splish, splash, splish. You are now hip deep in swamp water.
Can I?
You've pissed off some mangrove trout is what you've done, but nothing really spooky really happens. I will tell you, you guys could have picked a worse day for it because it is absolutely gorgeous out, and being in the water is pretty damn refreshing.
Ios is going to turn back to her companions. It seems safe. There's only trout in here. Feels nice too.
Despite the clear and quite obvious sense of danger and the corruption within,
Yeah.
for what it is on the face of it, it's pretty goddamn nice.
Is this not the fastest way from point A to point B?
True. And you see Rollins sort of leans his head back as if he's like glancing toward the sky, though he's not allowing his hood to fall, from his face. And he sort of sighs. He says, "Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, the most direct route."
So we ford the mangrove, I'm guessing.
What are your thoughts,
Yeah,
Lazar?
I guess we're fording the mangrove.
We're going.
Roland lets out an exasperating sigh and clambers up onto his feet.
I'll
Goes back
take-
and-
I'll take point.
Okay. So Roland will loosen his sword in its scabbard, and he'll draw one of his shorter blades. Actually, no. Actually, leave his blades there. He's going to actually take his bow and string it,
Ooh.
and have an arrow knot just in case. He whispers a prayer that in Shadow Feywise that to Ilmatar's ear, since he knows regular Feywise, the tone of it sounds almost apologetic. Almost as if, "Sorry to wake you, sir, but they're making me walk into this thing in the daylight."
Is despite the quite beautiful weather, the mangrove has plenty of shade, so you are not you're not going to burst into flames. You're not a vampire, but now you all slog through the hip-high, brackish. No, it's more like I think brackish. Brackish would mean it's dirty. It's
It's
briny
probably
water.
tannin rich, I'm willing to bet, because of all the mangroves.
Right. And briny, as we're close to the ocean right now at this point. You're slogged through for quite a few hours, quite literally. 7, 8, 9 hours here. Your boots and your tall sandals will be soaked through. But the deeper into the mangrove you trek, the less signs of wildlife there will be. There's no birds in these trees. Those of us who are familiar with coastal environments, I mean, you'd think crocodiles would be here, or an alligator of some kind. Not even this. No, you're thankfully unaccosted through this trek. However, uncomfortable you may be, there are no megafauna mosquitoes here, thankfully. But you get that resounding dread. Deeper and deeper you go, and you'll find yourself on the edge of kind of like a tall, almost like a table land kind of hill that's overgrown with I keep wanting to describe it as like elephant grass, but it's not that high. Swamp grass that is quite literally, no one has trekked here. You drown in the grass being cut to pieces by the leaves. But you get here and there is in the distance there is eldritch whispering. Was on the wind that was not there before, and there was no wind. It was just a dead, eerie calm.
Is it by chance in any language I may know?
It is not in a language that any of you guys know.
I would like to make an awareness test to try to figure out what direction it's coming from.
Beyond this palmetto, actually.
All right. So Brelin looks at this grass and sort of starts picking a path, looking for a possible path through, even if it's something that maybe overgrown a bit, in an attempt to basically find a way to get through quietly or more quietly.
As quiet as one could get through
Right.
disgustingly tall grass. The lot of you, the 22 on danger sense. Yeah, no, this is some horrible shit. Clearly something is very, very wrong. And for Ilmatar specifically, there is not enough light in this world to push back that inky darkness that's kind of creeping in on your mind in this area. You finally now notice, it dawns upon you, whether or not you point this out, everything seems grayer here. Almost like something is sucking the color out of the environment as well.
Hold on. In one of his, so Ilmatar is not the standard sarcastic, lovable asshole that people come to know from my characters. He tends to be very stoic most of the time. This is going to be one of the times he actually kind of breaks that. He's going to look back at Roland and, did the colors change or are my eyes going bad?
I'll look around. Is this the darkness of like sunset that's causing this, or is this more of a?
Not even close. You've got
okay.
plenty. This is closer to midday than it is to sunset. I mean, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's pretty sunny.
Yeah. So he looks around and says, "No, this isn't from my. This isn't night. This is not natural darkness." But yeah, it looks different.
Out of curiosity, if I turn back the way we came, are the colors brighter the further out I look?
Yep. The farther you get into this kind of like pall, it's
getting old.
It starts to fuck with you. Yeah. Just for a little bit of levity, that meme from Oklahoma where you're looking out the front of your truck and it's thunderstorms, but you look in your rearview mirror, perfectly sunny day.
Legit.
That
100% legit.
Just like that. But gray and no weather change.
Yes, I would like to do an esoteric knowledge check. It's in the chat there, to see if I know of anything that could cause this that I'm familiar with.
Well, it does stink of sorcery. That's quite obvious here, but it's not sorcery that you know.
I will make that known. This is definitely sorcery, but it's not anything that I'm familiar with.
And this is coming from the lips of an Umbread, who are the firstborn. For
That's not good.
for those who are aware of the world lore. Yeah. Some foreign magic. It may be Atlantean. It may not be of this realm.
Raylan looks over at Ilmatar and Hyosa and says, "We may be getting at the center."
Could we just light the grass on fire? Draw out whatever's in there?
I don't think that'll work.
Break the sorcery?
It's too wet. It's too wet here.
Narrator, do
Mm.
I still have that internal voice going, or did that kind of fade away, or does it seem stronger here?
Nothing has called out for help since that one,
Okay.
but you have a splitting headache.
Raylan looks at the two and says, "Hold here for just a moment. I'm going to quietly move forward and see if I can see anything. Make sure we're not stumbling into anything unawares."
Make me a stealth check.
Okay.
Stealth check in the Palmetto might be interesting.
16.
16. All right. You can you slink off as best you can here. It starts to sprinkle while you're away. More or less misting here on the coast than rain. And you're describe it for me, Keith. I kind of like visualize you're kind of like almost like swimming through it as best you can.
Yeah,
this
he's-
tall
he's-
grass.
He's doing his best to move when the breeze moves the grass, so it's harder to notice the grass is moving.
Mhm.
And so he's taking his it's slow. He's keeping the bow very, very close to him, and the arrow actually tucked in his chest. And he's staying low, and he's just basically trying to see if we can get far enough we can see beyond this grass. If there's a clearing in there, or if there's an area just beyond where maybe there's something there. And if he comes to the edge of this thing and he sees nothing, he's gonna go back.
Okay, give me a second here. With that meditation for Ilmatar there, you can have a moment to yourself, probably on a rock or on a log nearby, and send to yourself. You're not taking damage from this psychic assault, I'm going to call it, but you're able to push it away so it's not pounding and pushing a hot dagger into your head.
Not as distracting.
Yeah, no, you would not be able to cast spells right now because it's that oppressive. And Roland, you will actually feel that same ear and mind splitting headache as you're moving through, and the wind comes through and moves, and you actually with the wind you move the grass out of the way, and there's a small circle about 6.5, 7 feet in diameter, a perfect circle, and staked out almost in a pentagram, like a pentagram 5 or 6 starred circle, is a vivisected Leshen child.
That's what Cherry knowledge. Actually, this would be ritual, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that is a ritual someone has set up.
I will do a ritual check then to see if I can figure out what the idea for this thing is. That's good. 2, that is going to be ritual. Where's my ritual? Stuff in order. It's up there. Here it is. 24 total.
You're trying to divine the intent of this
the
ritual?
intent of this ritual. What's the purpose of this ritual?
That's your mile. What? That is one of your many mile markers that you were looking for before.
Oh, So one of many. So this isn't the center. This might this would be on the
the
edge.
the style in which this is, this, in your knowledge, in your mind, and if you were to do a similar ritual, there would be many.
Okay, so this definitely connects to the Leshen because Leshen was used as a sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
to this point.
This Leshen child possibly was kidnapped
Yeah.
and then tortured in a way that made this is at extremely advanced stages of decay and corruption here.
Can I get any sense of the spirit this thing may be evoking?
Not
Is there any indication?
it's not a spirit.
Okay, more of a god.
Yes,
Okay.
in the intent to make something sick. You don't know what the target is.
Okay. He will very stealthily, if possible, back away. He's not going to interfere with it yet. He's going to go back and tell his friends what he has found. And he is going to try to stealthily retrace his steps.
Stealth for me again here.
That's a 17 this time.
Okay. I think that was a little bit better than before.
Yeah, last was a 16.
Okay, a tad bit before it. Just for the time difference for you creeping around, it's about an hour that you're trying to like pick your way back and then be as quiet as possible.
Yeah, it's not
For
fast.
the other party members, excuse me. Roland's been gone for about 2 hours and 50 minutes. So he finally reappears, and Ilmatar, you're at this time you're finally able to center yourself in a way. Just okay, as Roland comes back, and Ayosha, I'm going to guess your head has been on a goddamn swivel this whole time. Being Trow. All right. Very superstitious people. We very much define light and dark, clean and filthy energy. Now, I can say something is filthy. All right, that's dirty energy. This is fucking filthy. Now, to describe this for you, and you take this into your character, and I'm going to have you give me a soliloquy about this, and you can build the lore of your tribe, your character, your backstory, how this comes into her mind. Now, if I was to say this is a pretty filthy place, spiritually, that would be like saying the Pacific Ocean is a tad bit damp. Give me a soliloquy. Take it away.
As what has happened is explained to her, all she can think about is how absolutely disgusting this ritual is. That somebody would ever do this, that they would pervert the very nature of energies, the balance of the world. There's light, there's dark, there's good, there's bad. Even as children, they're taught that there are things you do, there are things that you do not do. For example, when something dies, you treat it with respect. For your people, you bury them with seeds. You give life back to the earth. To take a guardian of the earth, something that is great and honorable, and just completely harm it, as this was, and turn it to such evil is just almost impossible for her to comprehend that somebody would even do such a thing. Why is all she can think about as she looks around for a seed, any type of seed, just something she can place with that body.
Is it safe for me to assume that Roland, in these next few moments as he's come back, Keith's gotta put his headphones. All right, Keith. When you've come back, I'm gonna guess. It's up to you. Are you going to tell your companions what you just saw?
Yes, when I get back, I'm going to first off note where they are. Can I get an idea of Jerry what time of day it is now? Is it like early afternoon, toward sundown, maybe? You're muted.
I'm
there.
sorry. God damn it.
Okay.
I'm also muted. Anyway, it's about 2:30, 3 o'clock
Okay.
within
okay,
the
so-
hour of 2.
So mid-afternoon. Okay. He comes back and he sees the two of them and he makes sure to let them know he's coming. And it's him because he remembered that Iosa was on edge when he left. Doesn't want to spear in the gut.
Okay, here, let me
Okay.
pause you right there. How?
Well, when he left. When he
Right,
left,
he
He
but
noticed that.
is there a
How am I
signal?
going to do this?
Yes.
It is.
Is there a
he is
signal?
going-
Animal call?
What he's going to do when he gets to the edge where he can see them,
Mm.
he's going to pause for a moment and make sure what they're doing. Then he's going to wait for her to look his way and then raise a hand and wave, and then step out.
Non-combatant ally.
Non-combatant
Excellent.
coming in, and he'll step out. He'll say,
Um,
"Okay, I found something."
You, Iosha's trying to center herself.
Okay.
Trying. Valiant attempt. And Ilmatar is sitting on a rock nearby, meditating.
Yeah.
Face in his palm. Kind
He'll
of.
see this. He'll walk up to Teosa and sort of reach up and pat her on the shoulder and say, "It's going to be okay. I know that this place is not good, but don't worry. We'll keep you safe." He then turns and he looks over at Ilmatar and he says, "I need to show you something real quick." And he sort of he basically reaches down and sort of clears a space off in the ground if he can. And he'll sort of lay out, not actually draw it out, but sort of lay out how it would look with this circle and say that, and tell him there's a Leshen child that has been vivisected in the middle of this as a sacrifice. It's about an hour's trip that way, with the way I was doing. I would guess, let's see, it'd be a traveling check to figure out how far I went, right?
Around about, yeah.
Okay. So that's going to be a 12 for a good guess of how far it actually was.
You could, if you weren't being as quiet as you were, and it wasn't a straight line.
Yeah.
'Cause you're trying to move quick, or to move quietly. Excuse me. Maybe 40 minutes.
Okay, so about 40 minutes that way, there is this. I don't think it's the only one. It may be one of many that has caused this thing, and I'm not sure what it will do if we interfere with just one. What do you think?
With these lessons, would I know if they have a way to move on? Like, this is not the natural progression of things in the world,
Oh, hell no.
but do they actually have a way to move on? Like, would me as a priest want to help them pass on?
I think you would be pretty compelled to help them move on, but we're also, collective cultural lore within the party, we're not quite sure if they actually do die of old age or go anywhere, or if what existence they inhabit is an afterlife. Rumor evil things turn into Leshens, but you, using your logic as a priest, as a child, it was hurt. You have a job.
Right. That's what I thought. I just wanted to.
Oh yeah, no, of
Yes.
course,
So
of
I'm
course.
gonna look at Roland and be like, lead the way.
He'll not be as stealthy this time because he's leading them. And he'll try to go a little more directly towards this thing. So, in fact, he's gonna switch over to his short sword from his bow, just so he can actually cut through some of this grass and this palmetto, and make sure to clear a path.
You'll get there in a fraction of the time, and as I described before, it is a horrid, nightmarish, grisly sight. Um, I don't know how maternal Iosha is, but children, monster children, but children.
Either way, it's still a child.
Yeah.
Does the headache come back full bore again when we get close up on this thing?
It actually, when the three of you move into this space, I need meditation tests from everybody. I need a difficulty 16 from you all.
I am short with a 10.
Short with it. Oh my goodness. Oh no.
31.
31. Lynx, what do you got for us?
Not only is there no way I could pass that,
No.
I got 2 1s.
Oh no. No. Okay. Whoa! Okay. That's actually really interesting. Roland will take you'll actually take 4 points of vitality damage on this psychic assault, and again it feels like a hot dagger being shoved into your mind, and you could not consider casting spells using magic at this point. How filthy this is. To the 2 priests of the party, I regret to inform you that the heartbreaking news of your deities are very far away from you. Here. You cannot hear them. And they cannot see you. Ilmatar, because you rolled so damn well, you're not going to take any vitality damage. You felt the assault come, but your because of your experience, you mix as a priest of the Silent Monolith as well as a warden of the winter cult, your influence, your spiritual and arcane influence felt this come in and it was shoved back. And you also kind of walked into this with, I need to take care of this. There is a sick thing here that needs to be healed, and Papa Wolf's not going to be fucked with in this regard. Hell no. Iosha, for example, she was not feeling good to begin with coming into this area. A mix of your tribal superstition and maybe some of that maternal instinct, a tad much bravado, but no one here will fault you for your reasoning. Now, you will take actually 12 points of vitality damage as, again, that hot dagger influence being forced into your mind. I mean, she doesn't use magic, but still, your connection to the spirits is farther away than any time in your life. You feel like a lump come up in your throat, and you want to hug your babushka, or you want her to come hug you. She's not been with us for a very long time, but that is the person you immediately think of. And it's oh my God, where's home? Where's my family? Oh, by all the gods, are they safe? And we come again upon this scene, 3 very different reactions upon this nightmarish ritual. The floor is yours to continue.
Well, Roland is going to literally hit with that assault, he's probably going to hit his knees and grab his head. And feeling Feldane far away, he's going to start praying, because that's what he does when he feels, threatened by this thing. And he'll sort of, he's going to be consumed with that for at least a little bit. And that kind of pain just from a psychic assault. So he's not completely like incapacitated by it, but it's definitely he's occupying his mind.
Ayosha is going to immediately tear up, just devastated as she thinks upon her home that had caught fire before this. And she is going to reach into the pouch that holds a special acorn with hands that are shaking just from the amount of just mental damage that she is facing with this. And it holds a single acorn from her homeland. It was supposed to be saved for her dearest friend, but seeing this Lushan child in front of her, she knows that it's supposed to go to them instead. So she is going to just fall to her knees, just tears pouring down her face, and just start trying to pile dirt on top of the Lushan child. Just trying to gently bury it in some form or another.
What do we have from Ilmatar?
So, like was stated, Ilmatar has gone into strictly business mode. He's got something to do. He would be vaguely aware of Verlan and Ayosha having to take an extra second, but it wouldn't truly register because there's something more important in front of him. He would notice Ayosha starting to do the thing with the acorn and the dirt and everything, and he won't stop that unless she actually almost touches the child, and then he'll kind of like, try to stop that. He will actually put on, I guess, what would be equivalent to gloves in this day and age. They would be like woven fiber gloves, basically.
Of course.
And then he actually will go down by like the head and stuff. And how do priests of the Silent Monolith do the last rites?
It probably involves candles and a couple, probably what would come up as probably psalms for us, maybe a poem or a song, perhaps. Now, you probably have some holy water on you for just this thing, this sort of thing, and it's up to you how your sect actually handles this. You can, however, attempt to dispel this if you wish. As Ayosha is kind of like trying to bury this child, there is an active magic here. She will eventually disrupt it with burying the kid, but sorry, I go for it.
Would that be a ritual check?
It would be.
Okay.
Go for it. What do we got?
Well, I exploded twice.
Oh yeah. All right. What do we got? What do we got?
That's a 32.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well then you can have your wicked way with this ritual however you wish, my friend.
Is there enough dry ground at this spot for candles?
Yes.
Okay.
There
there
are
currently-
what?
I was gonna say, is there currently candles or whatnot around it for the ritual currently in place?
Yes, black candles at each of the 6 points on the circle.
Oh, good.
Yes,
I'm assuming being silent monolith, I probably use green or tan colored candles,
probably.
or do we just use white ones?
It's up to you.
I don't know what's available is what I'm asking.
What would you have on you is what I'm asking.
I assume being
giving you
silent
free rein.
monolith. I assume being silent monolith, I would have like green or brown. I assume for the winter sect, I would have blue or white.
Which do you want to use?
We'll go green for silent, and I have blue for winter.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
You
I also didn't know
narrate.
if like colored wax was a thing
no.
yet or not.
Oh
so-
no, of course it is. Of course.
Okay.
Just
So
don't use
what-
blueberries. It's gonna turn everything purple.
Right. So what will happen is I am actually going to put 4 green candles down.
Okay.
I'm going to do them in the 4 corners. If the black candles are still lit,
They currently
or
are,
if they're
yes.
smoldering, I am going to douse them with the holy water.
Okay. I should tell you that it looks like they've been lit recently.
Oh,
Like
good.
they seem
Then I can-
relatively new. Like maybe they're, say, if it's a candle that's like 4 or 5 inches tall, something like that. If he's got like an hour's worth of burn on it, pretty
Right.
recent.
Okay, then I can really piss someone off here. That's great.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Let's do
rock
that.
and roll with this, my man. Go for it.
No, but no. Just because I don't know exactly what's going on, and I don't want to touch anything, even with the gloves, I don't have to. I'm actually going to douse them with the holy water, just because then it hopefully disrupts whatever is going on there. I will also take a strip of cloth, hold it in my glove, and then actually tip over the candles after they have been doused. And I don't remember if you said it, but are they just in a formation, or are they actually in like circles of their own?
They're in a 6-star formation. This 6-foot diameter circle. It's got the
Right.
kid in there, and then there's like 3 on one side, 3 on the other, in kind of like a 6-pointed star formation there. So it is in a formation, yes.
Right, but each candle, like underneath of it, is there like a star pentagram type of ideal like there?
Oh no, it looks like someone had dug out like a divot so the candle wouldn't fall over.
Okay, so yes, I'm going to take them out and lay them on their side,
Okay, all right.
and then I will put my 4 down. I will light them.
Okay.
And then I will probably go into whatever psalms we would do for children, pass it on to the next life.
What is Roland doing as this ritual is taking place? He's going to be here for a little while.
He is going to try to keep an eye out around for other people coming in, try to keep a lookout.
Okay.
And he'll probably like mutter his own prayers. Obviously, Feldanes doesn't seem to be very close, but he'll still mutter some of the prayers he would normally mutter for a person passing through the darkness into the afterlife.
What is Iosha doing while all this is happening? Are you going to attempt to assist Ilmatar in this, or you're right there with him, I guess?
Once she gets a hold of her emotions, she is going to ask if she can assist him in any way.
Okay. Then Ilmatar would have gotten a +2 for if he directs her to do what he's doing, or tells her what to do. He will get a +2. And we're gonna put this at probably a second level ritual to dispel this banishment for those of us who are working on the magic system here. And it'll be 2 spell points for you.
Okay. So the +2 would have put me at a 34.
Right?
More than likely, I probably would have just directed her on where to put more dirt, kind of piled up around the candles I was using so that they don't go anywhere. And then as I was doing the psalm, I probably would have given her the means to light said candles and told her which order to do them in.
Perfect. Yeah, your ritual will take effect. It will take a little bit of time, but in the immediate area of this ritual, the color seems to start to bleed back, even if slightly. How do you wish to proceed?
I guess I plan to make an awareness check to see if anything's moving around the area now, right?
Go for it.
After I had Iosha, sorry, help me with everything I had her help me with, I would then look to you and can you scout around, make sure nothing's trying to sneak up on us, please?
Yeah, Relon will nod. He'll slink off and start sort of making a perimeter check.
But while they're off doing that, Ilmatar will finish the last rites. Do I feel anything happen with the body when we get done with all this?
Nah, this poor thing has been dead for some time.
As you know, if the whole spirit going to the afterlife thing would kick in. Do we feel our deities more when everything starts to brighten?
Your gods know. As far as you're aware, you're unfortunately invisible to them where you currently are. Or you may well be. But those eldritch whispers on the wind they continue some way deeper in the palmetto.
We need to hunt that down before they hurt another.
Yes. Or see how many they've already hurt.
Hearing the yes, Iosha is going to nod her head and just walk straight towards it.
Straight towards the darkness, huh? Mama's not playing around anymore.
Straight to the breach.
This overgrown grassy tableland in the middle of this quite literally an eldritch nightmare swamp. You see it before you see it with your eyes. That sick tree that Ilmatar had described in a vision previously. You look above the grass, this swamp ash tree all by itself on this palmetto. You step out into this clearing, and this poor tree is just bent and gnarled, and that scream you heard from the edge of the swampland just echoes here. This was where it came from beforehand, and Ilmatar, now you as paternal as you probably will become now. It was the tree crying out in distress. And before this tree is raised a single standing stone, overgrown with brambles, thorns, and covered in glowing, kind of like a fiery red, orange, glowing runes that just make you feel dirty just looking at it. You'd need to bathe every day for 100 cycles to finally feel clean. And there's an entity standing before it, just looking up at the stone and the tree behind it. The stone is making the tree sick. This entity, let me describe him for you. Now, he's a skeletal figure, clad in kind of charcoal, kind of a burnt umber, brown, kind of mud brown, and what looks to be like animal hides. You're not familiar with that species of animal, though. And a pervasive smell of the grave on a fetid wind blows from this entity, followed by these same eldritch whispers and murmurs. It's a wight, an undead horror, standing there clad in these things, and it seems with its pits of witch fire for eyes, looking upon this pillar, this hinge, just kind of marveling at it. How do you guys wish to proceed?
Rollin is going to go into stalking stealth mode.
Nobody else? All right. Oh, okay, all right. We're all typing to me now, I guess.
I was gonna let Elmatar go first, actually.
Okay, all right. I should probably describe its countenance a little bit more. On his head. What's that, Elmatar? What?
I was gonna say 20 on a self-control check.
Okay. 20 on self-control. Well done. This is also the source of those mind assaults that you've been taking meditation tests for. On this white's head looks like a crown of, you're not sure if they're horns or it's a crown of thorns on its head. Like almost like at the hairline out, but almost like up.
Iosha is going to yell out to the thing in rage. In the name of Azarus, are you the one that is hurting these Lushan? And if you are, I'm going to slaughter you myself.
It simply just rolls its skeletal head in your direction and just sets those witchfire pits on you. And cackles. From beyond the veil, this thing is cackling at you with a voice that can only rasp from the grave. His voice sounds like it's coming from beneath the earth. And that stench of the grave comes to you. Yes, that you could not there is no doubt in your mind that this is the nightmare that's doing this to you. But we're going to pause here. The stage curtains will close, and on a windswept hill, a cackle knifes its way into the ears of Shihan. You know that cackle. You know where that voice comes from. He should be dead. In fact, you wear his redskin cloak.
With that, Shihan is going to be basically hieing off in the direction that sound seems to be coming from for him, baying like a hound on the hunt.
We are back in the swamp with our trio of adventurers. I need reaction tests from all three of you. Congratulations, everyone. You have just met Endukaga the Undying. Yeah, reaction does explode.
$25.
25. Nice. Oh, nice. 28 for Ayosha. Hell yeah.
How high was this stone that he's in front of?
It's a hand, just probably 20 feet tall. Looks like a big mass of like semi-uncut basalt. A real dark stone. All right. Write everyone down here. Here we go. Because I wrote it down wrong. Of course I did. And Endukaga lives. Oh, for fuck's sake, of course he rolls a crit. God damn it. Why does the big bad always go fucking first? All right, fine. Endukaga goes first. This thing with the alacrity of undeath, he goes into like a pocket in his kind of voluminous rags is what he's got. You can't call it robes. He's like there's like 4 or 5 garments he's got on. So he's got pockets upon pockets upon pockets, and he goes in and he throws. He's going to throw a thing. I'll describe it here in a moment. With a 19 at Ayosha, she's the one who's you decided to attack the darkness, and we love you for it. Yeah, what's your defense score? I want to know.
Looking now real quick.
Defense. 2d8. Cunning. If you have an evasion bonus, we're gonna need that.
Fuck.
Oh no, don't! If you rolled 2 1s, someone's gonna drive down there. Keith, I need you to drive over there and take her dice away from her. Just stop.
Okay.
A 1 and a 2.
Oh, okay. It's not a crit fail.
It's not a crit fail.
Oh. So what's that total?
3, 6,
Come on.
10.
10. And all 10 test just a 10. All right. So he's.
Can I change dice, narrator?
You can change dice. Yes. God, I would hope you would. You can't re-roll it though.
No.
Roll better on the next one. For the audience,
If there is a next one.
Yeah. Oh, come on! Stop! Quit it! Don't.
Thank you, Ilmatar. I needed that.
Oh, it's your hard reset. There's your levity. He goes into a pocket and he throws what looks to be like a bunch of like red dust, and they look like little brown rocks, but he throws them in an arc. And with the other hand, he does this motion. Just, or he just, so his hand opens quick, and there's a spark which ignites this arc, and there's just like a jet of fire that comes out. And Ayosha is going to take, oh god damn it, can you not stop at, okay, so suppress. All right. 11 points of vitality damage, and he lights you on fire with this gout, just wah. But you are the next to act.
No, I'm not.
What happened?
-6.
No.
Yeah.
Lynx.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Is she gonna damage resist on that?
She damage resist fire. I
don't know. Can she?
It won't help because I just rolled it.
What'd you get? Like for like an
A
armor
2
test.
plus a 1, so 3. So it's still -3.
Fuck. Okay.
Hey, cooked Ayosha. Good health for everyone.
Sit tight. Just sit tight. All right. Word. As we see her just go up, actually, you know what? I want the last soliloquy from Ayosha. As the nightmare unfolds, the last thing she does see is fire going at her, and which I'm going to give a bonus to the action of Roland and Ilmatar once we get here. Go for it.
The last thing that goes through her mind is just pure rage and hatred at this being as she chunks her spear at its face.
Make an attack roll. Just I mean, you were the next to act, so you know. Truth be told, I'm
now you roll well.
See, that's how it fucking works.
Could be a fate point spent here. Just so
you could also use a fate point here. Hang on. Oh, fate points. Going back to the rules. Okay, fate points. What can you use them on? You can use Left 4 Dead, A Great Blow, Cleansing Shadow. That's not going to work for you, but a Mode of Clarity amidst the nightmare, or a Narrow Escape. So, Left 4 Dead. When a character is brought to 0 vitality, they are usually slain outright or have other special conditions. See Pizole, under death, that kind of thing. If a player chooses to use a fate point here, the character appears dead to a casual onlooker and would easily be mistaken as deceased and passed over should some force intervene, and the character recovers in some twist of fate should be described in the soliloquy. Now, you could do that here. Okay, you can't do a Narrow Escape because he didn't actually crit on you. I would recommend you use a fate point for.
I will take one.
Dead. Okay, take -1 fate point for that character. You will have 2 for the life of the character now. So she's dead. Ilmatar is the next to act.
Well, quick question, and
What's that?
this is something. Are we on completely solid ground, or do we still have water?
You guys are on solid ground now. Yes.
There's no water.
Not here. No.
Damn
You're
it.
towards the center of this island.
Okay, never mind. I was going to try to do I was going to try to help the facade, but it's not going to be able to work out that way.
Okay. All right. So,
Because what I wanted to do was, I see her go up in flame. I was going to essentially douse her in the water, bring her back up, and then, think she was left for dead, but we don't have water nearby. So.
all right.
Maybe
So,
she fell into the water.
Well, there's no water nearby, which is why I asked.
So, Ilmatar, you are the next to act.
So, yeah. So, he might go do a dumb. So, yeah.
Go do it now.
Ilmatar will see Iosa go down. He assumes she is just barbecued right now. I don't know. Like, part of him is like 90% of him is screaming, I need to fix her. Like, the priest side of him, the healing side of him is like, I need to fix her.
She's dead, dude.
But
He's dead, Jim.
one like he sees her as dead, and then the logical part of his brain says, that motherfucker's still standing. I can't, quote unquote, waste time.
Yeah, no, you're
Healing
in
her.
combat now. You can't be thinking about her anymore.
Well, I'm telling you what Ilmatar's going through.
Okay, all right. Let's go
So,
for it.
and he has no ranged ability, and his god has been cut off. Looking at that henge, is that thing like firmly embedded in the ground? Like,
Oh, it would need to be, structurally speaking.
like you can tell it's probably like 10 feet underneath the muck and dirt.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I guess he's gonna go do a dumb, and he's gonna go up to this white, and he's gonna try to smack it.
All right. Roll me an attack. You charge right in there.
$23.
That is gonna hit. And Dukaga is kind of marveling in his handiwork at turning your friend into a funeral pyre.
And then 6 points of damage.
All right. I'm assuming you're using the quarterstaff.
Yep, I go up and I pretty much baseball swing at him.
All right. That is going to crack off of his bones there. Here we go.
It's Feyarn, it'll be okay.
Oh yeah, no, of course. Making a note here for the rest.
His initial
of the
damage,
scene.
doesn't it? Being Feyarn?
We're getting there. Roland is the next to act.
From where he is at, he is going to feather him twice with arrows. He has 6 grades in bow.
Oh, get him! Get him!
First one is going to be a.
Oh, that one's gonna hit. Just say it right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna hit.
Okay.
Christ.
It's going to be a 22.
Oh yeah. And the
Second one, not quite as good. That is going to be a 14 for the second one. No, sorry, 13. This is -1.
Those are both gonna land. Roll damage. You can tell me where those land on.
And damage explodes, right?
Damage does explode. It's always explode. Come on now.
Yes, okay. First one is going to be 17 points of damage.
Ooh.
The The second one is going to be 16 points of damage. And if you want me to tell you exactly where they hit him at,
Not yet.
not yet. Okay.
We're not going to do called shots just yet for this.
Okay. I don't know if you want me to describe how they hit him. Okay.
Back to the top here. And Dukagas doesn't seem to really, and this is probably the unsettling part, is he doesn't really seem to react much to your physical assaults on his person. He's possibly you're beneath him, or it's not quite the same effect as you'd like. And he will retaliate with he will utter a rune, an eldritch rune. You'll actually kind of trace it in the air quick like, and then because Ilmatar is in a melee range, he'll actually reach out and touch him quick. Well, he'll actually go out and touch him on the hand of your quarterstaff. If you come in and you're coming back to go around for another shot, you'll actually reach out and touch your hand that's actually holding the quarterstaff. Well, he'll actually at least try to, and his touch is going to be a 18 on the die after his attack. You can go out to defend, see if you can get away from that. So for the sake of the scene, he's reaching up to touch you.
It's exploding, I'm telling you that much.
That's fine. I don't care. Just tell me the number. Do you break a 19 is what I'm asking.
I broke a 30.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So he's going to come and attempt to touch you, and you'll actually pull away then for that round. Now we go back to Roland.
So the arrows did not seem to have much effect.
Well, yeah, he's a skeleton.
Right.
What you've got is your arrows are kind of caught in his robes.
Yeah. In that case, he's going to drop his bow and he's going to charge up as he's drawing his long blade, which is his healthy weapon. And he is going to swipe at him with the long blade.
This is a war sword?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a curved war sword of the type that are specific to the priests of Feldane.
I'm aware. So it's a two-handed weapon, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Be sure to add in your two-handed weapon damage.
17.
17 for the attack. That is actually going to land.
All right.
Well done.
It's 11 points of damage.
Ooh. So I'll tell you, you're gonna hit probably center mass on him, so that edge is going to probably bite down the shoulder to the collarbone and probably get lodged somewhere in the rib cage, and as your blade gets stuck in him, he'll actually kind of look to you and he'll set those eyes on you, and again he'll cackle at you and he bursts into dust.
Okay. And he'll bark in Shadow Feywild, "Darkness take you, fiend."
That black cloud that he kind of burst into, this cloud of dust, shoots into the sky and then it flies off into a different direction, off into what would
Esoteric knowledge on that.
go for it.
Let's see. That is going to be a 23.
23. What are you trying to divine here?
Does that, the way him zooming off like that, is that like, is he going to somewhere specific? These undead creatures, do they have like a reliquary they have to go back to, or a tomb when they're destroyed, or is this more like a matter of
He's
just
not
something
actually
unknown?
dead and he's running kind
Yeah,
of thing?
basically.
Would you roll?
23.
Yes.
Okay.
To
He's
both.
not actually dead, but he is running and he is going. He potentially has to return to a reliquary of some type. Okay. All right. And with that, he's going to look up at
Oh,
the
Shihan
sky.
will see this, by the way.
Okay.
On the fucking horizon, you will
Yeah,
see this.
Shihan is going to change and head toward that direction. He's moving like a freaking fiend at the moment. And Relon, after he sees that, he turns and looks back toward where Iosa's body lays. And he's going to sheath his sword and walk over to her and lean down and sort of, his whole thing is to basically he's going to place his hand on her chest and start muttering prayers for a fallen friend.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. I'm a 5-year-old. I apologize.
That's okay, not necrophiliac, but that's fine.
Okay. Roland Till is many things.
Not yet.
Hey, here we go. There you go, Lynx. I'm glad I made you laugh. Yeah, she's dead, Jim. To at least the Arborian culture, she actually died a very, very beautiful death. Very, died in battle sort of thing. Gruesome, bloody, and charred. And no, you don't get sense life. Shut your mouth.
He
Wrong system.
He'll sort of as he's got his head bowed, he'll move his head towards where he thinks Imiltar is, and he says, "Do you know what god she followed?"
Well, she said it before. He's talking to you, Mike.
I know. I also typed something else for.
I'm
the
ignoring that
narrator
for now.
here.
Answer this question.
Now I'm getting ignored. Oh, I see how it is.
She's dead. I don't know why we keep talking about this.
Well, I was also trying to do sense life on like the tree and crap too. But
Oh, well.
I was doing it as a generalized statement. Thank you.
Oh, well, she's dead. The tree is not.
She worshipped Azaras.
He'll basically take and start. I actually wouldn't even know that. We'll do a ritual check real quick. He does know the language. That's a 14 on a ritual check. Do they have any specific death rituals for her culture that I know of? Maybe. Or does Azaros have any death rituals?
Not that you're aware of.
Okay, in that case, he'll basically reach down and cross her arms, and he'll basically place her spear on her body, and he'll start basically praying to Feldane to guide her through the darkness to Azaros and to deliver her safely, and doing his own final rites for her.
Okay. The anchor for the sickness seems to be that henge. Actually, we'll make you roll for it, but it's yeah. Clearly, you have at least for now gotten rid of the caster of said ritual, but the anchor for it is that stone.
With him being gone, do we feel the god's presence anymore, or is it still being held off?
It seems that this stone is actually holding your deities at bay. As if that could be possible in your mind.
Is there any markings or gems set into it, or is it just that giant stone slab?
There are runes etched into it that kind of glow that angry fire orange, if you will. And these runes are not they're not your alphabet, of course. They're someone else's alphabet.
So doing like a ritual or an occult insight or esoteric knowledge or whatnot isn't going to help.
You could try to. Yeah, go for it.
25.
Oh, is that esoteric knowledge?
Yes.
Well, I will confirm that yes, it is the anchor. And the stone itself seems to be siphoning off the life energy of this tree. Actually, it will dawn on you that this tree was, before this sickness came, this tree was it itself was an anchor for the fairy realm. It wasn't a gate to the fairy realm, but simply an anchor, a purified place. So this, probably to use Dungeons and Dragons terms, I really don't like to invite this comparison. It's kind of, the stone is turning the tree into like a mana battery, kind of almost, there's almost like a vampiric type nature corrupting this realm, if you will. There is, you do notice, there was once a silent reverence about this tree, similar to one of the fair folk ancestors may have made this tree.
So all I know is that this particular runic alphabet is not my own.
Right. It's an alien language to you.
Roland, you have a spare dagger.
Roland reaches into his inside of his cloak and pulls out a dagger, just a utilitarian one. He'll start to toss it, then he'll mutter one last little prayer and reverently stand up and then walk over and hand it to you by the hilt, and he'll start looking at this stone as well. This is a language that he's familiar with. Through academics, maybe?
I don't know if you would, but roll it. If you crit, I'll tell you.
It's not a crit.
Okay.
But
Narrator's like, oh, thank God.
It's 23.
No, that's not high enough. I'd honestly need either like a 35, a 40, or a crit.
Yeah. He looks at it up and down and says, we can try to cleanse it.
I'm actually going to try to scratch one of the runes out.
Yeah. No, you can deface one of the runes.
Does that change anything, or no, because the ritual is already in place?
That puts that rune out, quite literally, but it doesn't seem to affect the situation at all.
I'll do it to a couple more then.
It's
either going to trigger an explosion or shit's going to shut down. Hopefully the latter before the former.
Yeah, well, I suppose, yeah. No, you can deface the runes, but the corruption isn't gone. It's not leaving.
Damn it. That's right.
In that case, Roland's going to start bringing out his ritual materials and start setting up a cleansing ritual. See if he can maybe reduce it, at least reduce it, or possibly even maybe even cleanse the stone.
Okay, you can give it a shot.
So that's going to take a while, right? You know, if you set up for that, like a full day.
Yeah, if you're here,
Yeah.
then yeah, and if you want to try cleansing that,
Yeah.
go for it.
Okay. So yeah, I'll prepare the ritual, and I'll let Ilmatar know what I'm doing. Basically, the idea is if I'm going to bury her, because I'm not going to burn her body, because I know too much about her history about fire. But if I'm going to bury her, I'm not going to bury her in a place that's corrupted.
Right.
So yeah, he's going to start getting his stuff together and doing his preparations and stuff like that. So his initial ritual roll. Ritual again. Oh, there it is. A 16.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of it.
Describe for us how you go ahead and do that.
So he's going to be basically pulling out. He doesn't use candles because that's light,
Fire. Yeah.
and that is literally the opposite of what Feldane does. So what he is doing is he is bringing out stones, and these stones are very highly polished. They're covered in very, very fine little runes. And he begins laying them out in a pattern around this stone and this tree. He's going to actually circle the whole thing. If you look really close at them there, Ilmatar, you'll notice that some of them look to be maybe carved into almost anthropomorphic figures, like people, almost as if maybe they're totems of an individual. One looks to be a fairly robust female figure, carved in obsidian. Other ones are, as I said, just they seem to have, some of them are just round with several different designs carved into them. Once he gets them laid out, he'll actually reach another pouch to pull out black sand, and he'll start actually connecting them with this black sand. Once again, this sand, if you look at it very closely, looks almost like glass. It's basically powdered obsidian. Another, a dark stone, if you will, from that's associated with Feldane a bit. And he will proceed with this thing into the night. And he will actually sit down and actually start the chanting for the ritual, not at what you would consider midnight, but what would be the equivalent of 3 a.m. The true darkness of night, the darkest dark of night.
When night falls, those defaced runes will actually flare back up again.
Okay. So, part of what he does once he gets his circle cast, he will attempt. It may work, may not, but he will attempt to summon the darkness into that circle, like basically using his the snuff the light power that Feldane normally grants him.
Mm-hmm.
He will attempt to bring that in as part of the cleansing ritual, because you're basically allowing the darkness to bleach the corruption out and make the corruption get lost is the idea, I guess. And I don't know if it actually works or not. That's the question.
That'll take better part of the day.
Yeah.
And once we have the hour of 3,
Yeah.
You'll actually perform the ritual, correct?
Right. Yes.
So I'm understanding that correctly. So you're going to be up all night.
Yes. So conditioning test?
Please do. Well, yeah. Is Ilmatar aiding in all this?
If Roland needs the help.
He probably will.
Oh yeah, he probably will. But, so yes.
23 on the conditioning.
Okay. You can last the night.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And if Ilmatar wants to assist with this with the cleansing, let's go over here real quick and
Bring up the
bring up our
anatomy
new
of the
stuff.
mystic.
Yes. So as someone who assists,
I'll give him a +2.
assistance. Okay. Yeah, he'll basically go +2 to his ritual casting.
Okay.
So that'll put it at an 18, I believe.
Okay.
So
The night passes quite eventfully with this ritual.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, your ritual does not break the enchantment of this thing. What happens dawn the next day, however, is you all take 2 grades of exhaustion. This stone seemingly sucks out the energy from the ritual as well as from both of you. You seem to have made it angry.
wonderful. Well, Ilmatar, I think we need at this point to do a strategic retreat because I don't think we'll last another night here. Rowan says tiredly. Looks over at Iosa and says, I don't think we should bury her here. Let's take her outside the area of corruption. Come at this again. Now we know where it's at. Maybe we can get some more assistance to come down here.
We need to get that dug out and smashed.
Yes.
So yeah, let's get her out of here.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we'll both carry her because she's a pretty substantial individual. I have a physique of 7, so I can carry myself.
I don't think Ilmatar's physique is very, very high either. It is a long and arduous journey to get this bodybuilder woman outside of the swamp. I want you to make you roll for it, but good God, she looks heavier than she is.
Stupid dead weight.
Yeah, right. Oh, shit.
Athletic roll?
No, I will make you, you go
Okay.
for it, but it's gonna be evening the next day by the time you guys get outside. It's not fun. Yeah, with a physique of 12, yeah, she's a solid lady. Very shapely, very athletic. Ooh. But anyway, now beyond the
Does by the way, does rigor mortis set in because it's easier to carry?
just for you, yes. You probably make a cairn for her. So the obviously the predators won't have a go at her, and that afternoon.
Yeah, we'll probably actually, once we get her outside the corruption area, we'll probably rest because I'm sure we are wore out,
Of course.
and then bury her the next morning.
Oh, so you okay? All right.
Yeah.
So we'll advance the session 2 days here. We have her in a cairn, and you make your strategic retreat where?
That is a good question.
Uh-huh.
Where do we go, Ilmatar, to get help? Should we go all the way back to the camp and possibly get a work crew to come down with us and haul this thing out of the ground and bust it up? I'm gonna do a traveling check and see if I know of any villages nearby. No. 17 traveling. 21.
None that are allied. You guys are on the
Okay.
Atlantean side of the river.
Okay. Okay.
They've got to go back to camp.
Yeah, we'll have to go back to camp. That's a long trip.
Back upriver. It's
Yeah.
easier going downriver because it's downhill, of course. Now you got to go back upriver to the rocks and the crags.
So I guess
Um,
that's what we'll do is we'll make the long hike back.
You will return. The war camp has moved on. They've advanced. But the area that you were that was inhabiting was a village, an Emersian village. So you'll get back to this village maybe that has like maybe 60 mortals in it. They're pretty rural. And probably as your supplies run out, we'll say, 3 grades of exhaustion later, since you've kind of forced marched it back, the floor is yours.
So Brelin's going to sort of stretch himself as he's looking down this little village, looking over at Ilmatar and says, what can we expect down here in this village? This is your area, or this is your land, I guess.
As far as I know, we did on friendly grounds here, at least.
Okay.
They were kind of glad to see us, so we can only hope for good
Yeah.
things.
He stretches once again. He says, so I know back where I'm from, the mortals that are outside the city I live in, they sort of worship us almost as deities. Is that the same thing here with you guys? They tell tales of you of fear and such, and you know.
I've never heard that one personally, but then again, I'm just the priest who hangs around in the background.
Oh, okay. We're just trying to think of how to approach this. If we need to like walk in as if we're, some great beings of power, or we need to just go in and just ask. I don't know. I'm thinking about just going and asking for food.
Yeah, I think being blunt is probably going to be our best bet considering how exhausted we are.
Okay, I could definitely use a bed tonight, especially if it's a warm body. So,
You do you, Roland. You do you.
oh, not me. Not me. So he'll shoulder his pack once again and just sort of mosey on down to this. Now is this like a little like a village with like a wooden palisade around it, or is it just open village?
They have half a one. The village was partway fortified by the rest of the encampment that just kind of like around it.
Okay.
So they had like a half of one. It's like a semicircle around the village. It's on the Atlantean side, mind you. It's to defend against assaults coming from that direction. They're pretty podunk here, so the village only kind of got some attention.
Okay. Well, he'll go to this. I guess if they have something that poses as a gate, I think it would just be rude to walk around it. At least make them feel like their defenses are useful in some way.
Right.
Go and see if there's someone watching the gate, or if not, walk on in.
Not exactly someone watching the gate, but there clearly are hunters and warriors kind of milling about. But
Okay.
they don't accost you.
Okay.
You'll kind of, a couple of them will give you like recognizing smiles as if they recognize your faces, but you get the impression very much from the look of pleasant surprise that the Shadow Fae were not expected to come back.
Okay. Well, I will smile back coyly, do a couple of winks out and such as we go through, as he will. Do they have like a longhouse or something like that? It's obviously like the house of the headman.
Yeah, they've got the chieftain's house there.
Yes, I guess they look over the Ilmatar and say, "Yes, we go there." So, see if they can provide us with some food, a place to sleep, and maybe a few strong backs to go down and deal with this thing. So.
You'll be fed. You'll be watered, and in that case, you'll have you'll be given a hut that you guys can sleep in
Okay.
for that night, which kind of constitutes their gathering place, their inn, if you will.
Okay.
But that next morning, they will refuse to help you.
Okay.
That place. You guys stink of black magic.
Yes. We've been dealing with it. We need to get rid of it. Do they have a priest or a babushka that poses that works as a priest by chance?
Oh, there is a babushka there. Well, there's several babushkas.
I will let them know what we discovered down there, so that they can be prepared for it if in case it comes north, and then ask which direction the camp went. Guess we'll have to go talk to them.
The encampment went farther north, back, not retreating towards Arborea, but advancing upriver.
Okay. All right. I guess once we recover, we'll head that way.
We will, I suppose, reconvene a few days later as you enter the military encampment there. The Shadow Fae that were part of your fellows have actually returned to the rest of the army that is stationed some miles back. But now it is a mix of mortal, half Fae, and Arborean soldiers, and they're getting ready to assault a stronghold on the northeastern side of the Sunset Valley. You'll remember that from
Yes.
Reaper King.
I do recall that.
The Atlanteans had put up an old. It was once a fort that was kind of just boulders pushed together in kind of a haphazard way, filled in with stone. But now they've actually added an actual castle on top of it,
Okay.
which looks, I mean, Atlanteans are awful people, but you have to admit that when they build a fort, they build a goddamn fort, and they ought to do very well.
Yeah. Roland will actually look at that and sort of tilt his head and look over to Ilmatar and say, if they weren't the enemy, they'd probably be very useful for just getting rid of that stone.
Mm.
Well, it's what it
Say
is. So these are more your people, Ilmatar, that lead the way to where we need to go, who we need to talk to.
There are actually no fair folk here. His people are gone. You're muted, Keith.
I was saying so are mine, but I'm thinking his people actually at least have more contact with these than we do.
Well.
So
Well, they told us which direction the war camp was going, right?
Mhm.
yeah,
Or here now.
that's where he went. Yeah.
This is so podunk, there's not even a spot to like buy horses or a wagon, is there?
You guys have actually moved on from that.
Yeah.
You're actually you've
At the war camp.
moved on a few days later. Down the road.
Okay.
Um,
I'm tired.
we can't. There is no horse domestication. You don't buy horses here. Any horses that were trained for battle have been captured from the Atlanteans.
Yeah. So we could possibly get some boats and take the river down. But I don't know. I know nothing about boats. So
What exactly do you actually want to do here? This is an Arborean war camp. So
that's why I was looking at Ilmatar thinking, would they be willing to help us? Do you think? They seem to be very tree-like. Maybe they would.
Do they have? Who is the priest? The head priest around here?
likely a priest of Lekra, but we don't have a name for him and or her, but they tend to stick together.
Okay, I would try to go find whatever head priest was at this camp right now.
All right.
I don't really need a name. I just need someone to talk to.
Okay. Totally fine. Yeah, you can find a young Stormlord that's actually kind of presiding over some papers.
Okay. I'm assuming he's not even looking up at me yet. I'm just
No.
gonna.
As you kind of walk into like this way station, kind of like open air tent care, he'll actually look up. He's got green eyes, dark brown hair, like a sandy dark brown hair. He's younger than you, but he's an adult Arborian.
Right. Which doesn't really say a whole lot for Arborian, but yeah. No. But walking up to him, let him catch my eye, I'll give him a bow. I'd be like, I'm gonna be blunt here. We have a pocket of corruption, and it is blocking off our sight to the gods.
The young man cocks his eyebrow at you. I'm not aware that that's possible.
Neither did I.
All right. Where?
He'll get a scrap of paper or whatnot or a parchment, and he'll actually trace out the way that they came,
Okay.
trace out the swamp, finding the great big tree and the standing stone in front of it.
Standing stone sounds like something of the silent monolith, though. Was there a hole drilled to the top of it?
No.
Well, the silent monolith does preside over henges.
Yes. I know. I'm sorry for being blunt. I am tired. And this is very distressing to me. I actually am a priest of the silent monolith.
Well, I understand why your vestments, but has someone of your faith fallen from their graces?
There was a White Lord there when we approached it. We ran it off, though it slew one of our companions.
Oh, my apologies.
And not only did this thing block my friends, your connection to the Silent Monolith, it also blocked my connection to my God.
Oh, I see. All right. Oh, I'm just a Stormlord. I'm newly initiated into the cult of Kavalgar. I'm not too knowledgeable of anything of that. I was not aware that one could be cut off from their deity.
We did not know this either. And trust me, my people have a long memory. From what I understand, this is not supposed to be possible. So, we need people that are skilled in stone cutting to remove this thing.
Stone cutting. He kind of looks across the river and to see this enormous monolithic Atlantean hill fort, and he goes, well,
if you want to go speak with them, you most definitely can, I'm sure.
I would prefer to stay here at my table.
I agree. I don't think they would parlay with us in that area. For all I know, they may have done it themselves.
Maybe that was going to be my next question. Was this? Does it look like Atlantean workmanship?
No, I'm going to do an academics check.
Right.
And I'm going to try to trace out some of the rooms in the dirt. And say the script was thus. That's going to be a 14.
He just kind of looks down at the runes in the dirt and looks back up at Roland. It's I don't know anything about these letters, but I think I might know someone who would.
Then by all
Um,
means, direct us to someone.
he's not part of the encampment.
Ah,
He's not Atlantean. It
No.
just
that's
That's
a
better.
good thing.
no, he's an Arborian, but he is strange.
I've been called this.
Well, you're a foreigner. That is to be expected, but he's strange even for us.
Ah,
Spends a lot of time near the inner world.
ah,
There is he's come through the camp 2 days ago, and he's left. He's got a hut about a day up the river in the caves on the banks. Go find him there. He will not stay with us. He says he's seen too much of the shadow to sleep near others, is his words.
and he does sound to be an odd duck. Well, I guess we look over to Ilmatar and said, well, we could rest here for the day and begin at first dark.
Yeah, we need to rest.
At least until sundown.
Well, you're welcome to eat with the rest of the troopers, by all means.
So yeah, he'll in that case, Roland's going to go find himself something to eat and something pretty to look at, and possibly bounce on his knee if they'll allow him to.
There is he speaking to Roland here. The young Stormlord, the young priest says there is a small aviary or a rookery that we use to speak with your people.
Then I need to send a report, let them know my whereabouts and what I'm doing. Do you know how far they are from here?
They've retreated back to the mountains, the divide that splits the land into from east to west.
Why did they retreat?
We've been told that they've taken a goblin stronghold in one of the mountains, and it's theirs now.
Makes
and
sense.
he'll describe something that kind of, to the rest of us nerds, sounds like Moria, quite literally. But
I'd be much more comfortable to sleep there than out in the open under this endless sky where you feel like you're gonna fall off the world at any moment. Okay, well, in that case, Roland will thank him very much for the information. Head over to the rookery so he can send off a missive letting him know where he's at, and if possibly 2 of his people could meet him at the war camp at the earliest convenience.
Okay.
Specifically to Tenulian and Adawan, 2 of the scouts that he worked with before.
Okay.
And to basically have some of his assistants bring him a replenishment of ritual materials.
Okay. That'll take a couple chains to actually find them, but it'll send it via it's by hawk, really.
Okay.
But
and then we'll get some food and a bit of rest, and about sundown I'll go find Ilmatar and see if he's ready to go.
At dusk, you guys kind of spend most of that afternoon lounging, recuperating. But at dusk, do you actually wait until the sun actually disappears behind those peaks? Or okay. No, now the west is
Yes.
shrouded in darkness, and then we head
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Yeah, you find your way that day later on the banks. It looks to be like it once was a seasonal settlement for maybe like drow or hobgoblins at the time, and it's since been abandoned. And there's a kind of a small cave system just above this, these kind of seasonal foundations, and you find your way up in there, and you actually see the smoke of a fire coming out of the cave. And once you get up there, you don't see anyone in there, but clearly it has been slept in recently. About a days and a half catch of trout are hanging on a makeshift, like a bow that's actually been made in a branch, and they're sort of like hanging from their gill slits on there, being dried. You guys probably mill about for a little bit, going, "Oh well, it'd probably be rude to go in," but you feel a presence behind you. You turn. There's an Arborian with strawberry blonde hair. He stands about maybe 6'4", quite tall, quite built for an Arborian, and he has a fishing spear in one hand and a kind of a slung over his shoulder, like a leader that's got like two more trout on it. And strangely enough, he's got a baby, like
Okay.
in like a papoose board on his back. And he just kind of looks at you with these like goldenrod colored eyes, very gorgeous, bright gold eyes, which, I mean, clearly he's probably not 100% Arborian, and he's dressed strangely. He's kind of dressed in kind of what would be considered like an older, much older, more tribal fashion for Arborians, and he's his most modern garment is a deep green, kind of like a shoulder cloak, like bunched up around his shoulders, but it's held together. All of this rustic countenance is kind of accented by a gold bush, like a thorn bush brooch with enameled green leaves on it.
Would this be a holy symbol by chance?
Yeah, go for academics. Sure.
Okay. That's a 13.
It's not a religious symbol. It's
Okay.
probably a house.
Okay.
He's probably a nobleman of some kind.
I don't know much
Or
about our
Was once a nobleman.
So,
And he'll just kind of like grunt to you. If you're hungry, I will feed you.
well, thank you. I most definitely am hungry. I'm sure I'm from the Ilmatar areas as well. This is Ilmatar, Warden of the Silent Monolith. I am Merlon Till, Priest of Feldane. We've sought you out for your knowledge. We've been told you may know more about some things than others.
I know some things. Yeah, he looks at the fair folk in the party, and with a beautiful accent, he actually speaks to you directly. Good morning. If you are hungry, I will feed you. There are raspberries and wild cucumbers in the basket there. Are you a vegetarian like the rest of your lot? I have these fresh fishes from this morning.
I actually never thought about that, narrator. Am I actually a vegetarian?
It's up to you. As a 4th level priest of the Silent Monolith, you're probably starting to begin you could possibly have your own sect, be the high priest of your sect, since you have 4 0-level acolytes under you. You tell me, what do your people think? Be a pescatarian. I eat fish. I think that's a
No.
pescatarian. That's a vegetarian who just eats fish for their protein. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lynx.
Well, let's see.
It's kind of metagaming. I bring that up as a pescatarian because there's fish and vegetables there.
He'd be an omnivore.
You'd be omnivore. Okay.
He'd be an omnivore. So yeah, he'll look to this guy and no, I eat meat and fish.
And he just kind of like points with his chin to the mouth of his cave. He goes, well, then you'll join me for food?
I will.
He'll just walk past you and then go into the cave. He'll hang up his 2 additional trout on this string here, and as he passes the 2 of you, you notice this baby in the papoose. It's a little fair folk girl. She's a tiny, like an infant, and she's sleeping, and she's got her horns growing in. They're small, of course. She hasn't matured yet. She's a baby. She's probably just shy of what would be like a 2-year-old child. She's really little, and she's sleeping quite soundly in this papoose board, and then clearly he's adopted her of some kinds after a fashion. But he'll actually prepare a meal and cook for you guys. It's the tradition of old hospitality.
Roland's going to, of course, say his prayer of thanks over the whole thing, and he'll begin eating, and he'll, of course, he's constantly looking at the child because that's, odd. But he'll at first he'll say he'll eat the food. He'll thank you very much for the food. It's very filling and very, very good. Might I ask you a personal question?
You may. He does not look up from the fire as he's cooking the fish.
How did you come by a small fairfolk child? Was she lost? Did you find her? Was she?
Her people live in the pines in the inner world, and the Red Devil people of the mountains burned her village. And I found her in a burned hut, and I am taking her back to her people. Well, her people from the south, because the inner world is not safe. And it's when he finally looks at when he says the inner world is not safe, he finally looks at you guys with this, just don't. He's very fucking serious. You Summerland people are quite soft. He says, I'm a little bit more accusatorially than... He's clearly a country barbarian.
Yeah, Roland will actually smile at that and sort of look over to Ilmatar. It is good of you to take in an orphan like that.
just nods, doesn't say anything, and then he hands you over a flat rock that he's probably using as a plate, a platter. Hands you over a fillet of this trout.
Okay. Relin he'll thank him, and he'll begin to eat and eat in silence for a bit, allow everyone to get to eat their food. And then he'll look over to Ilmatar and he'll say, as he finishes his meal, he'll say, once again, thank you, but may I show you something?
You may.
Okay. He looks around. Is the floor of this place like a dirt floor, basically?
He's actually, despite being a barbarian, it's pretty clean. It's like down to almost like the stone, but what I find it damn surprising, to be perfectly honest.
Okay. In that case, he'll move the food off to one side, reach into his pouch, and pull out a piece of chalk that he occasionally uses to, like, for ritual purposes and such. And he'll start writing out these runes, a few of them. And he'll say, do these mean anything to you?
He just looks at these runes, and then he looks back up at you and he spits on them. He goes, get that off my floor.
Okay. He'll clean them. He says, yes, they are a foul thing. Myself and my friend Ilmatar here had fairly far to the south here encountered a standing stone with these runes carved into them that is making an area ill. There's a sacred tree there to Ilmatar's people, I believe, and it seems to be causing it great pain. We were hoping you could tell us where these came from and how one might be able to maybe remove them or cleanse the place.
Those are the letters of the Red Devil people.
He looks over to Ilmatar and says, Ilmatar, have you ever heard of these Red Devil people yourself? No. Go ahead.
I am not a sorcerer. I do not have truck with anything like this. I have slain many of them, but I do not know how to work the sorceries of the world. I know many priests, I know many magicians, but I am not. No.
I understand. Do you know any around here we might be able to speak with, who might be able to help us, that you may have come across?
None here, but I do know that there is one great sage amongst that one's people. He actually looks over at Ilmatar.
And who would that be?
The entity known as the Astromancer.
I've probably heard of him. Okay.
Anyone who is a fae and has horns knows who the Astromancer is.
I don't have horns, but I know who the Astromancer is, I guess.
Yeah. What I said is who is fae and has horns. Yeah, so both. Ilmatar probably has never met the Astromancer personally, but he knows of him.
I think he may be too far away to help us at the moment. That's a long trip. I may just have to go back and find among my people some strong backs and just haul this thing bodily out of the ground. I'm afraid that there was a White Lord there when we first found this place. It slew a friend of mine. I think it may have done something. It was an odd one. it was, of course, obviously the flesh had rotted from its bones, but it seemed to have a crown of thorns about its head.
Crown of golden thorns.
I believe so, yes.
He takes out a bit of charcoal and he actually draws you a picture of what looks to be a mortal with angular features and obviously with the flesh on their face.
Right.
They have a which would kind of like a ring of horns actually goes around their head. That looks as if in one of these in this white in life possibly, but he hands you this. Do they could pun possibly look like this?
It could. Of course, didn't have the flesh on its face, but it could. Yes, the horns look correct, or the crown, or whatever it is that is.
It is it's a crown of horns that sprouts from their skull. It is a naturally occurring thing. The children grow them, and they get sharper as they become older, and they decorate these horns. They enamel them with gold for their opulence. And
this thing was vile, to say the least, and the stone itself is vile.
This is the Red Devil people that I spoke of. The Atlanteans are not the real enemy, which sounds like a very blasphemous thing coming from an Arborian.
Yeah. He's like, Roland's like, well, they are invading, and they seem to think that they're the enemy. Mm. Have you told them this? He sort of smiles at that.
They can be easily dealt with. Not these Red Devil people.
Well,
the King of Arboria needs to stop his fooling around and playing with them. He is not a cat. They are not a mouse. Just drive them from these lands and get his head on the real prize, which is the Red Devil people.
Yes, I can see how you may have a vast dislike of these people, but I do have to say they're not currently roaming the hills, creating fortresses, and taking slaves. At least not that I've seen.
Well, you haven't gone far enough north. Each spring, they come farther and farther south. And with the Atlanteans pushing up from the coast, and these Red Devils pushing down from the north, Arboria is squeezed between two things.
It seems to be the case.
Evil and unpleasant things.
Yes, very much so. I've seen the kinds of foul sorcery the Atlanteans allow to have in their camp. I saw a pair of trolls casting their foul magic, trying to pollute those priests around them. That this is much more foul, though. And this is far to the south, so are you sure it could be them? Or could they be in league with the Atlanteans?
No, I know that they are not in league. They're not. They do not know of each other.
Well,
my suggestion is that you go and meet with the Astromancer, and possibly he can break the enchantment of this ritual that you could not do yourself.
Roland looks over to Ilmatar and says, with that specifically, what do you think? Is this even a possible thing?
Well, if the stories are true with the Astromancer, I'm going to say anything's possible. And if it's the only thing we have to go on right now, short of trying to find a team big enough and strong enough to just uproot the damn thing, yeah, this is probably our best bet.
And that may not even actually end anything if we just, because as you scratched out the runes, it did nothing. So removing the stone may not do anything either. I suppose that's our. I mean, and I assume he's a person of some status. Would you be able to get an audience with him?
Me?
Oh,
I.
no. Ilmatar.
Oh.
Sorry. Sorry, my new friend.
I have only met the Astromancer once, and it was in passing.
I've never met him at all. So.
I honestly do not know either way. I would like to think we could, simply because of the depth of our quest, so to speak, but that man is as enigmatic as, you know, the darkness itself at times.
Well, we seem to be, he glances over to our host and says, we seem to be running into a number of enigmatic individuals these days. Might we take our rest here and then leave it first at first dark tomorrow?
I will be leaving this place and taking my things, and I will be traveling south and to the west. You may stay here. It's quite safe. There are no cave bears. There is nothing to accost you here.
Be wary on that path that you're traveling. There's some danger that way. So.
I have some unfinished business to attend to with he pauses. Are the pair of you fairies trustworthy? I sense that you are both responsible people.
We are.
There are a group of Atlanteans that are displeased with their ruler and wish to break away from the carnage and the bloodshed. There have been a few such individuals who have entered into a mated pair relationship with native men and women, and they wish to become farmers. This is the far to the west along the coastline.
Yeah, well, it just shows that even those people can become native, as it were. Well,
they have begun to revere the Fae gods as deities above their own previous Atlantean deities.
As they should.
So it is there that I travel. They are far enough away from their capital on the coast that they do not they are not accosted by their politics and their government.
Okay. Well then, fare thee well, traveler, and if we meet again, maybe meet under good circumstances.
I'm sure we might.
Shade and sweet water to you.
He stands as he's gathering up the baby, and he kind of gets them ready for traveling, and he kind of sits off the side on this scene, so he's going to be in the background. He'll actually be feeding her. He'll actually kind of like chew up a little bit of the fish because she doesn't have teeth, and he'll be feeding her a little bit of this fish that he's deboned and such. So the two of you will actually call for soliloquies here as we begin to move into the next stages of a lingering sickness. Ilmatar, will you take us away here?
So Ilmatar has been kind of quiet. He's been A, taking everything in, and B, his brain is still stuck in business mode. So part of his brain just wants to get back to that stone as soon as possible and destroy the damn thing. So it's kind of making him distracted, but also, well, distracted is not the right word. It's making him slightly tunnel visioned right now. Let's put it that way. He wants that damn thing gone. He wants it gone as soon as possible. In light of the new people we have met, as well as the new direction we are going, he is also trying to prepare himself mentally for actually seeing the Astromancer, since this is quite literally one of the biggest celebrities, in the history of, what he knows as the world. So he knows that's going to be a pretty big thing to go to. And part of him keeps looking back at this Fairfolk child, and back of his mind, he's just like, well, hopefully to get that to work out, hopefully we see them again and it's on good terms and everything works out. But for the most part, Ilmatar is essentially just trying to mentally prep himself for this next leg of the journey.
Rilan Till, the house lights dim and your spotlight comes up to illuminate you as you retrieve another trout from the fire.
He'll pick through the trout and pick pieces off, and almost thought he is definitely still hungry, so he's still eating bits and pieces, but his mind is obviously elsewhere at the moment. As he runs through his mind the idea of these red devils apparently coming from the north, and their crown of gold, sound quite fetching, actually, just by the basic description. And he thinks to himself, I need to get this information to my people. This is one of the things that I'm here to do, is to learn things from these individuals and about the area and what's where. And if there's an additional threat to the north that the Arborians and the Dawn Fairfolk are unaware of, then that information needs to be in our people's hands so they can scout the northern edge as well. Also, this group of Atlanteans that seem to be going native is also very good information, because we might be able to send people there to speak with them and may get some insight on these invaders. Maybe either find weaknesses that we can exploit, or even find ways of infiltrating their ranks and get direct information about who their commanders are, what their plans are, and things like that. His mind is constantly going into this tactical process and categorizing things as very important and things as less important. Also, the idea of actually speaking with this Astromancer intrigues him, because this is a person of great power that knows things. And that's something that Feldane likes to find out. If he can possibly maybe pry a secret or two out of this person, it might be a bit of a status symbol, if you will. Also, the fact that he will have actually met the fellow will probably be a bit of a status symbol for him within his clergy. He's not really worried about this fellow and this Fey child. It seems odd, but at the same time, it's like maybe that's a tradition here. Foundlings, those who find the orphans, take care of them. Obviously, among his people, that have been the same way. But he's also a bit intrigued by Ilmatar not seeming to be worried about this too much. You would think Ilmatar wanted to take the child back to his own people, but each their own. So he'll spend the evening gazing at these people, sort of watching their movements and how they do things, and learning a bit more about them. So,
The stage curtains will close on this scene of our two Fae companions, then reopen on the coastline, on a hillside, lonely, grassy hillside. A thunderstorm has rolled in off of the sea, and we see a cairn. A fresh cairn that has not weathered in any way. Beneath it, a valiant drow warrior was previously slain by a foul entity of the undead, come back to haunt the living from the realm of the dead. As we see an olive, a deep tanned olive hand burst through this cairn, and with the tenacity and the tough as nails, just stubbornness, the refusal to capitulate to death. Hand bursts through these stones, and we see a hand with freckles. Her fingernails have grown in these past handful of chains. They're like claws, thick, healthy claws, caked with dirt, as she begins to claw her way through from the grave. It's horrifying to anyone who actually sees. Luckily, no one sees her because it's fucking terrifying. And she gets her shit together, and she just gets bolt upright in this earth. Iosha sucks in that sweet, stormy rain from the coast, and sheets of rain. She's covered in mud. Her dark, coal black hair matted her face. She looks like a drowned rat. She's hot, but she's a mess. Give us a soliloquy of what is in Iosha's mind.
In her mind is just relief, but confusion. The last thing she remembers is the torture of flames, and now she's surrounded by rocks that look like they've been stacked quite nicely. But unfortunately, they seem to have been disturbed by her presence. And as her mind slowly clicks back into gear, she realizes those rocks were for her. She'd been buried. She'd been dead. Her companions are long, long gone. And as she looks at her claw, she realizes she was definitely dead. This isn't a dream. This is reality. There's a storm overhead. There's the ocean, which means her two very, frail looking friends somehow carried her out of there. Amazing thought. Which she momentarily appreciates. But her eyes are drawn back to that forest as she thinks about the Leshens, wondering if they're all right. Did her friends take care of everything they needed to, or does she need to go beat the crap out of someone? Does she need to handle it? She has no clue if they're coming back. Where did they go? Her last memory is of that evil stone. So, with what little gear is nearby, and that memory of that poor Leshen child just dancing through her head, she grabs the spear she was buried with and starts stomping back into those marshes, ready to just burst that stone into pieces. That's hers. She's going to protect him. Azarus help anything that steps in her way.
Awesome. And with that, we'll end session 3 of A Lingering Sickness. We'll be back next week for a rock in a hard place.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.